Hey, what's good, guys? Blind Dave here. No, I'm not in my Digibite attire. I I've been doing a bit of thinking, you know, as far as different vehicles and whatnot. Now I'm legally blind from diabetic retinopathy, so I'll never drive again. So I just want to throw this out there for y'all to think about. Now, my degree is in automotive technology. I was Phi Theta Kappa, National Honor Society, with a 3.89 cumulative. Now, of course, I attended college for many years, mainly because I couldn't decide what my degree should be in. For a lot of the finance people, corporate finance and whatnot, I've been investing since 1995, so I used to write their papers on the economy and whatnot. Always made A's on all of them. So, I now this is more of a perfect fit. See, I used to invest for family and friends, roommates and that kind of stuff, but it was never my own money. Now it is. So, anyway, I know some of y'all are probably laughing. I'm wearing a Ferrari hat, limited edition. Yeah, I know. Um, and I use the Lamborghini, mainly because I think it's comical. Um, the you know it let's hit the fast forward button just for a second. So now, imagine all of a sudden now you're crypto rich. You're crypto rich. All right. First on the agenda, everyone says Lambo. Ooh, Lambo. Yeah. Look into some of the cost of the maintenance on that vehicle. The oil lines that have to be replaced, the different gaskets, O-rings for those oil lines. Just an oil change is $5,000. Um, a Lamborghini, the gas cap, that's $800 when you leave it on on the top of the gas pump. So when you get unwanted attention at a just filling up in gas. Oh, and back to the in the mid to late 90s, I used to compete nationally in car audio. IASCA, USAC. I was a USAC judge. Um, so, some of these vehicles I have driven. Not fast or anything. Really, just I had to work on a few. So, the Lamborghini, the gas cap, yeah. Then every single one of them is just quirky, to say the least. Try reverse in a Countach. Look that up. That is not fun, especially in the rain, but really anytime. The only way the way that Lamborghini suggests that you reverse a Countach, you lift the door. So the door is now fully lifted. With one foot, your left foot on the clutch, your right foot on the fuel, with it in reverse. You have to, I just hit the stand. You have to, with the door fully open, you have to lean up and out of the driver chair to look behind you. So some of y'all say, oh, I'll just put a license plate camera on the back. Yeah, good luck with that. But it's not practical. The slightest thing in a Lamborghini is atrocious as far as the cost. So there are a few other things, like I've driven a Diablo back in around 99-ish. It was a 97 model. Yeah, it was a 97 model that I drove in 99. And the um, glove box will never stay shut, the slightest bump. And then that's another thing. As low as the vehicle is, look, so now you crypto rich, you want a Lambo, look, if you got any kind, if you have any kind of an issue with, say, slicing a tire or scuffing up a rim when taking a corner in the city, don't get a vehicle like that. First off, have a place to keep it. So a garage, or, you build a shed, whatever, to store it. And then you have to put security on top of it. Then what's the insurance cost? Now, for me, I was looking at a Ferrari 355. I found a deal on it. There are many things with many different vehicles, so you do a ton of research before you buy anything. But like a Ferrari 348, 355-ish, and my favorite is the 355. In my opinion, that was the last true sports car where it gave the experience of a true Ferrari. This new paddle shift stuff, I'm not a fan. I like the old Ferrari. But anyway, the 355, make sure that the valve job has been completed on that before you purchase it. Otherwise, the engine has to be pulled out of that vehicle to do a valve job on it, which is, every 15,000 miles, something like that. And then it's really a race car. So it's not practical to drive a vehicle like this every single day. The 15,000 mile service includes replacing, whether it needs it or not, replacing the water pump, all the antifreeze, everything. I mean, just completely going through it. And it's treated as such. So be prepared for expensive bills with that. But, you can get I was looking at the 355. Now on insurance, the insurance alone was going to exceed $450 a month for full coverage. And I was trying to, and then you need, there's only a less than a handful of companies who will insure a vehicle like this. So, who you have for your home or your normal automobile insurance, they won't cover a vehicle like this. And I was trying to explain to them that, look, I'm going to build a platform in my living room for this vehicle to sit on, and the platform was going to rotate it. I would only take it out for special events and that kind of stuff, and they didn't care. They really don't care. So yeah, have a place to keep something like that, because it will draw a lot of attention. And in this thriving economy since 2008, really, I don't suggest it. So anyway, another big thing with all of these different types of vehicles is, what I decided to do was I bought a used Corvette, which is an American Ferrari. Easy to work on. Everybody can work on it. Well, some tire shops can't because the wheels have sensors built into them. So when you get these run flat tires to go on your Corvette, some of these shops will damage each one of those sensors, and each sensor is 100 plus programming. So just say $200 per wheel, and you just get the front tires replaced or just the rear tires, because they're two different sizes also. So, and each tire is like $450, $500. And then they always seem to break the sensors on it because they don't have the proper tool to dismantle the tire from the rim. So there goes your sensors, your air pressure sensors, whatnot. You'll have all kinds of bells and dings and all kinds of other stuff going off. And then them trying to claim that they're not liable for that. So make sure you do a recording before you drop a vehicle like this off, that your sensors are working before getting a tire. Just saying, because I've had this happen to me. So where they refused to cover the cost of the sensor and whatnot, even though it was their own equipment which caused it, and their negligence or incompetence of it. But so anyway, I got an American Ferrari, a Corvette, because I figured everyone could work on it. Mainly I got it because I was not used to driving a vehicle every day like this, which is so low to the ground. The nose sticks out very far, so parking was another issue, as well as the doors. You're basically laying down. So you have to double park, which you'll get tickets for and that kind of stuff, because the doors open so wide and you have to basically crawl out of the vehicle. I almost put the Lambo doors on the Corvette because of that. But there again, there's another $2,000 expense before you even touch the exhaust or anything, or any kind of performance issues that you want to enhance. But the lower the vehicle, you're going to find that you're going to bottom out. Or whereas if I were to just drive the vehicle right into my driveway, the concrete curb that is out in front of my house is at such an angle, all of them up and down my street are the same way. Normal vehicles bottom out on them. And so I had to back the Corvette into the driveway. So then you're going to have to get special grading and whatnot to go and block off the curb area. And so that way you can then either back in or try to pull forward into your own driveway. I had to back in, so that way then I wouldn't scuff up the front end, because just a little rubber piece that goes underneath the front spoiler, just that is like $500 or $600. So it's just crazy. It doesn't even, to me, it doesn't even really serve a purpose. It doesn't let you aware that you've run too far over a parking stop or whatnot in just a regular parking lot. So all of these kind of things you should look at beforehand. But I chose the Corvette as a learning experience before I bought the Ferrari, and I'm glad I did, because I bottomed out on that Corvette so many times. I had to get good at going in at angles to go over just speed bumps even. So I've seen a few Lamborghinis around town here in New Orleans, and they must have a hydraulic lift on them to lift them up higher to go over some of these speed bumps and whatnot, or they just ride around with it constantly on. But there's another added expense. I can recall working on some of these expensive Mercedes, where each strut has its own air suspension system, and you cannot just jack it up into the air. It'll pop. It will blow the strut system in it, and there's $1,500 for what, a $20 tire rotation? Really? So it's just there. In my shop that I ran, there were many vehicles that I made certain to put onto a list where my technicians were not able to touch. So anyway, the Corvette ended up costing me, I see, $206 per month for full coverage insurance. Like I said, Phi Theta Kappa, Honor Society. I even had the security system installed on it, remote start and all that. I bypassed the solenoid, so that way it wouldn't register whether it was an automatic or standard. And Also the, what was it? Oh, I had tracking on it, so I had GPS tracking on it, as well as a Camry that I had because, like I said, I'm an audiophile and I competed in car audio for years. So, I mean, in the Camry alone was like 15 grand, just, 412s in the trunk, what was it? 3-punch 200 IXs. I went old school with that one. Um, I changed several other things up. I went to, anyway, the whole other video on, Ryan Red 2100 HCCA and all this with a different alternator. And what was it? The Rockford Fosgate EPX2 with the 28-bit EQ. I still got all of that. Anyway, I had a lot of tricked out vehicles that I used to do. But owning a vehicle like these was totally different. So the insurance was $206 with all the bells and whistles, every deduction I could get. Now the Ferrari would have been $450 a month, whether it was inside of my house or on a platform or sitting out in a driveway, which I don't have the option. I don't have a garage or anything to park something like that in. So, I mean, to me, it's not feasible. The Lamborghini is just wrong in so many different ways from my area. I just, it doesn't make a lick of sense. Like I said, I'm more of a Ferrari guy anyway. I just find it comical to use a Lamborghini because, cryptocurrency and whatnot. Everybody, ooh, win Lambo, win Lambo. When really they should be saying win Prius. Excuse me. But, so anyway, you're crypto rich. Now you're looking at vehicles. There are many different things you should look at. Don't just throw your money blindly at any vehicle. Do your research. Make sure that it's had different service intervals on it. Like I said, some Ferraris, you got to pull the engine to service. Others have, excuse me. Others have, the more modern Ferraris. You can plug into OBD2 or at the DLC. You can just plug into it and find out how much of a clutch life is left. So I definitely would not purchase one with under 50% of a clutch. Those are extremely expensive. And same thing with the Lamborghini. And unless you have a full service garage, you're not able to do that on a Ferrari or a Lamborghini unless you have a lift and all kinds of other special equipment. And then it's not just a regular clutch. It has several different components. It's like a two-system clutch. So it's very difficult to do, and without specialty tools, which are dealer only, you can't even buy that off the Mack truck or off the Snap-on truck. And it's just not, to me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, look, yeah, it's fun and all to own a vehicle like that. Take your pictures and turn around and sell it, get rid of it in a year. And hopefully you don't have much of a loss. That's the best I could suggest on a vehicle like that. Now, if you plan on keeping it, there's a lot you should know there as well, as far as maintaining your battery and, depending on your climate. Some vehicles, you even have to adjust the valves based on your elevation. So if you go from, just say, Texas to Colorado, it's a mile high. That's why they call it the mile high. It's 5,000 feet in elevation. Some places exceed 10,000 feet. So the elevation plays a major part in that, because all an engine is a large vacuum pump. That's it. And the elevation is, you have to consider the density of the air, which is able to pass through your mass airflow sensor, which throws off your air-fuel trim ratio, when it's just, a lot of vehicles like that are so finicky. Requires a lot of programming. So I just, and like I said, if your driving habits, if you cannot keep a rim from getting all scarred up from just taking corners, don't get a vehicle like this. I mean, this gets into sort of what I was looking at with Mother Dearest. She's got a Honda Odyssey. Every rim on the vehicle is just scuffed up to nothing. It's just, and she was discussing wanting to get some new Infiniti. And, I'm thinking about my inheritance. I'm thinking about this and that and my investments and equity. And I hate to see people get destroyed and ruined in a depreciating asset, such as, you name it, on a vehicle. Every vehicle is a depreciating asset. But she's just got a Honda Odyssey, and she's got issues driving it. I'm not and she was looking at some Infiniti, and I pulled it up, and it's got an MSRP of like 75 grand. Now, do you know, for about $50,000, you can buy a good used Bentley, like say a Continental, a couple years old, not crazy mileage or anything. I mean, beautiful vehicle, excellent running, great Carfax, all of that stuff passes everything. With the W12 engine in it, even not like a V8 or a V12. This Joker's got a W12, wood grain, everything, loaded leather, you name it, 50 grand. It's like, wow, and the problem is with a person who rounds off who slices tires all the time or scuffs up the rims. Each rim on that vehicle's 2 grand. Each tire is like $500. You're riding around on 10 grand. Just the rims and tires. What's a brake job on something like that? Think of that. I mean, I would be the one who would do it. I would consider that part of an inheritance or something like that. No, I cannot drive, but I don't think I would have an issue finding either a cousin or a friend to drive me around in a vehicle like that. Problem is, who can drive a vehicle like that? I don't trust my mother to drive a vehicle like that. She's 81 years old. She really doesn't care. What you gonna do? Go to Walmart and Dollar General in a Bentley? Then get real. Get real. If it's like a weekend vehicle or your vacation home or something, no problem. That's cool. But an everyday driver, no. Look, stick to your Toyotas and Hondas and that kind of stuff. Just try to blend in. By getting a vehicle like this, you're gonna stand out. People are gonna approach you. People in the Mustangs are gonna pull up next to you and rev the engines. I've had it done to me so many times. I mean, my Corvette was a sleeper vet. I bought the Corvette used for $19,000 from a kid, knew nothing about it, and it did all kinds of performance modifications to it, a chip, mass airflow sensor, and ran like garbage. Damn thing ran horrible. I took it to a buddy of mine over at a GM dealership, and we reflashed it all back to factory. And then went on to program the air fuel trim and that sort of stuff. And I had a sleeper vet. It looked factory, but it wasn't. Now a Corvette will shut down everything at 175 miles an hour. And I had mine tuned to 201 miles an hour is when it would shut down. Now, the fastest I ever had it out to was 165. No one was around for miles. It was in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, going north. I was going up to Talladega, Alabama, to visit my mother. And I had envisions of putting it on the track in Talladega, but that never happened. But anyway, Um, I hit 165. I raced a little BMW M5. It's like, on the third honk, doon, 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 and downshifted in the third, popped the clutch, spun the tires at 80. I mean, it was just stupid, stupid. Scared the crap out of me. Um, Yanked it in the fourth, fifth, sixth. It's like, I let off at 165. I was still climbing fast. But it was, with the heads up display and all, so on the windshield, I could see the speedometer going, I could see the tach and whatnot on the heads up display. It displayed on the windshield, so that way you didn't take your eyes off the road to look down, you just kept your eyes forward. Problem is, the road just gets so narrow. It keeps getting more and more narrow the faster you go. And that was right before I lost my vision. Not right before, maybe a year and a half before I lost my vision. Let me see. Yeah, because I got the Harley right after this. I bought a Harley Davidson Heritage Softail Classic, black and chrome, brand new. And I got rid of all my toys and everything after I went blind. So I didn't have the insurance on it to cover permanent disability or anything, but no, it was wild. I mean, when I raced that M5, it was like, on the third honk, and then I just let go. I had to let off and then get it again, and then in the fourth and fifth, and then I let off in sixth, and it was just, you're even looking at the road, and at 80 miles an hour to start. Next thing you know, you're at 120. Then you just keeping your eyes on the road, and then you look at the heads-up display. Same thing on the windshield, and then it's 120, then 140, then 145, then 160, 165, let off. What was scary was the wheel was so straight. I mean, it felt like I could, just take a break from it, grab the Grey Poupon and shit, and just make a sandwich, and still drive. But it was just crazy. It was wicked. But no, don't do that. Oh, damn. But no, do a lot of research before you buy a vehicle like that. Same thing, Ferrari 348, 355, whether it's a Lamborghini, whether it's a Countach, a Diablo, take your pick. All of them are quirky. Every single one of them has their own quirks. They're all just a little different, like the window switches in a Lamborghini are just crazy. You think one way is up and the another way is down. Mercedes, same thing, the air conditioner, it's got an arrow up and an arrow down, and then this and that. And it's like, what the hell is this? And the same thing with the Bentley. I was thinking about a Bentley for Mother Dearest, because I could just drop 50 grand on a used Bentley instead of this $75,000 piece of garbage, an Infinity. And it's like, really? An overpriced Nissan. And it's just stupid. And for what? To go to Walmart to get hit by a buggy? No. I'm not dropping that kind of money on something like that. She's 81. She's fine with what she's got. At best, she might be like my aunts. I would say my great aunts. They drove until they were 89. So she might have 8 more years left of driving. To me, it doesn't make any sense. I've done all the service on this Honda Odyssey, on every vehicle that my parents have ever owned. I did all the services on. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Every once in a while, a little bit of a fade in the paint, and just take it in and get, just that little section sprayed with new paint, and, we're about to take it back in to have the hood repainted and put these rain guards over the windows on it. So, it just doesn't make logical sense to purchase a vehicle like this, especially now in this economy. So many people are out there hurting. They're looking at what they can either steal um, or how to steal it from you. Or just be in an accident with you because you've got a nice vehicle. They know you have good insurance, so just get into an accident with you and sue you. It's crazy out there. So I don't suggest it. I just suggest regular everyday vehicle, Toyota Camry, Nissan Maxima, whatever, Altima. Just a regular everyday vehicle. These specialty vehicles are just crazy as far as how much it costs to have service done. Like, your little oil change place, they can't do an oil change on a Carrera 911 or anything like that. So to even get a Porsche is just, and yes, I said Porsche, not Porsche. Anyway, and what was the other? Like the Bentley, same thing. I would have to do all my own service to it. But that's not a vehicle I'm going to get for Mother Dearest. She's 81. Now granted, as far as looking at it as part of an inheritance, I would be game for that. But same thing, I don't have a place to store it. I don't have a garage. My Mother Dearest doesn't have a garage. So it's a vehicle like that I don't want in the elements. It just doesn't make sense to me in this thriving economy. You're about to see a lot of these types of vehicles go on sale, including real estate. So I own rental property, so I'm looking, but I'm not ready to purchase another just yet. And a vacation home too. So it's it's all about timing. So do you have the funds? Do you need financing? It's better not to finance. But especially where I believe interest rates are going to go. That's a whole other discussion. But for your toys, don't finance your toys. Pay cash or, whatever equivalent. And it just, a lot of these types of, who's buying these vehicles? Look at some of these places like Car Tempest and stuff like this. You'll see the same vehicles on there. They've been trying to sell a Lamborghini Aventador or whatever you're looking at, a Gallardo, whatever. They're trying to sell these vehicles and they can't. They end up on the market for a year, 2 years, and then it ends up to where they'll just take whatever for it. So with, how they say cash is king, well,